Welcome back to Parsha Noach Aliyah 6. This is Genesis 9, and it runs from 9:18 to 10:32. So it's a little bit on the longer side. But basically what happens here is Noah plants the vineyard, he makes the wine, gets drunk, falls into a deep slumber, naked. Noah's son Ham saw his father naked and informed his two brothers of what happened. The brothers came together, they covered up Dad. A whole bunch of things and curses are going on that we are going to look at. A couple of cultural points. The sages use the word wine as a synonym for pleasure. Thus, the delight of experiences Shekinah is described as the wine preserved from the grapes of the sixth. I think the most important part of this section of Parsha Noach is why was Ham cursed? What happened? Well, interesting thing about this is when you read it in the English, it says that he discovered his father's nakedness and covered him up. The Masoretes, who added the point system to the Hebrew and the Torah, because Hebrew has no written vowels, decided they didn't like the way the Hebrew read. So they changed it just a little bit. But they created an illegal grammar structure when it came to this section. And the one thing that's interesting about Hebrew is that there are no grammar exceptions, at least not in biblical Hebrew. There probably are in today's Hebrew. I'm not as familiar with today's Hebrew. But let's see what was really going on. So if you look at the Hebrew and take the points away, you will notice that it says that Noah was naked in her tent. The tent is feminine. Now, her tent would mean mom's tent, or Noah's wife, of course. Now, Noah's son walked into mom's tent, which one is against culture of that day. You don't just walk into mom's tent. You would stand at the opening flap, the door, and you would ask for permission to come in. Obviously, he didn't have permission to come in. So he walks in. He sees his parents having sexual intercourse. That's what's really happening. Her tent. Why would Noah go into her tent? Obvious reasons. We're all adults here, so there's no reason not to just say what it really is all about. In the culture of the Middle East, you don't do that. You don't even do that in Western culture. But if you happen to walk in and see your parents being intimate with each other, the father will curse you for seeing it. It's culture. Nothing wrong with it. That's just the way it was. So that's what really happened. There's a lot of covering up that story because I guess people don't like to hear that part of the story. And the Masoretes obviously did not like that story, so they created an incorrect grammatical ending so that we wouldn't realize, oh, it's her tent. But it's really there. We want to bring this into the modern day for a moment for you. That the Torah says the first thing Noah does is he plants the vine. It's the getting drunk that's the terrible part of it. Because when you're drunk, you may do things you don't want to be doing. Now, Ham was punished by Noah because of that curse on his descendants, that they would be under the control of his brother Shem's descendants. That's a tough one. Peer pressure is a really tough thing. It's really tough when you're a younger brother, and I am, a younger brother, and your older brother starts saying, go do this, go do that. Sometimes you have a tendency to do it when you know you really shouldn't. We also know that looking at this whole situation with the family, the three brothers started to get greedy with one another. Who was going to get the land? Who was going to get the good land, the bad land, the good women, the whole bit? Maybe I shouldn't have said women because there were really only four of them. But, think about it. The three of them are going to restart the earth. And they did quarrel. The Midrash talks about they quarreled about who got what, who got the best, etc., etc. We have to learn to live with one another. And here we are looking at Noah restarting the world, basically 4 families, all brothers, yet they're going to fight over it. I hope that this helps you in some way, shape, or form and blesses you to understand what really was going on with the curse, because that's a big one. I always had trouble with why Ham sees dad naked as a big deal. Obviously, it was a big deal. And we have to think about interpretation, because obviously people have been interpreting it one way, and the Masoretes decided they didn't like the way it sounded. So God bless you for listening. I hope it helps you in some way, shape, or form. And as always, shalom.